The future. It's a concept that has fascinated humanity for centuries, a canvas upon which we project our wildest dreams and deepest fears. Flying cars, robot butlers, and vacations on the moon. These were the promises of a utopian tomorrow, painted vividly by the imaginations of yesteryear. That's what science fiction promised us, right? A world where technology solves all our problems and makes life effortlessly convenient. Well, it's 2025 and I'm still waiting for my jetpack. The reality is, many of those fantastical predictions have yet to materialize. Turns out, predicting the future is a bit trickier than Hollywood makes it seem. The silver screen often simplifies complex issues, offering neat solutions to messy problems. Yuval Noah Harari, in his book 21 Lessons for the 21st Century, warns us about the dangers of confusing science fiction with, well, actual science. He urges us to be cautious about the narratives we buy into. He points out that our fascination with dystopian futures, like those in Blade Runner and The Matrix, can distort our understanding of the real challenges we face. These stories, while compelling, often overshadow the nuanced realities of our world. The truth is, the future isn't some preordained hellscape of our own making. It's a dynamic, ever-changing landscape shaped by our collective actions and decisions. It's a messy, unpredictable thing shaped by human choices, both rational and, let's face it, utterly bonkers. Every decision we make, no matter how small, contributes to the tapestry of tomorrow. And that's something even the most imaginative science fiction writers struggle to capture. The future is not just a story waiting to be told. It's a reality we are constantly creating, one choice at a time. For a while there, we thought we'd cracked the code of world peace. The Cold War was over, the Berlin Wall was rubble, and the biggest threat to our existence was a rogue Tamagotchi. Harari calls this period the new peace, a time of relative tranquility fueled by economic interdependence and the fear of mutually assured destruction. But like a cheap watch, it seems this peace might be a bit unreliable. Human history, as Harari reminds us, is a bit like a drunken pub crawl. It's full of wrong turns, messy brawls, and the occasional vomit-inducing kebab. Just when you think things are calming down, someone orders tequila shots and all hell breaks loose. Remember those epic space battles in Star Wars? The ones that made your heart race and your imagination soar? Thousands of ships, lasers everywhere, creating a dazzling light show in the vastness of space. And some poor sod in a TIE fighter screaming, "Use the Force," as if that would solve everything. Yeah, actual warfare is a lot less glamorous. It's gritty, it's dirty, and it's far from the romanticized version we see on screen. And thankfully, a lot less common these days. The world has seen a significant reduction in large-scale conflicts. Harari argues that technology and globalization have fundamentally changed the nature of war. The interconnectedness of our world has made traditional warfare less viable. Large-scale conflicts between superpowers are now incredibly risky, potentially leading to economic collapse and, the end of civilization as we know it. The stakes are higher than ever, but that doesn't mean war is extinct. Far from it. The face of conflict has simply changed. It's just evolved like a virus, mutating into a new, equally unpleasant strain. The methods and means have shifted, but the underlying issues remain. Instead of massive armies clashing on open battlefields, we now have cyber warfare, proxy wars, and good old-fashioned terrorism. These new forms of conflict are just as dangerous, if not more so. It's a messier, more insidious kind of conflict, one that doesn't lend itself to rousing orchestral scores and heroic lightsaber duels. It's a reality we must face and understand in our modern world. Section 4, Blade Runner Blues. Our AI is not that smart yet. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. Specifically the kind that haunts our collective nightmares thanks to films like Blade Runner. The hyper-intelligent, emotionally complex androids who can outrun, outthink, and probably outflirt us without breaking a sweat. Here's the reality check. We're about as close to creating sentient AI as I am to winning a Nobel Prize in physics, which is to say, not at all. Sure, we've got algorithms that can write poetry and robots that can flip burgers, but true artificial intelligence, the kind that can feel emotions and make independent moral choices, that's still the stuff of science fiction. Section 5. The Matrix myth. We're more likely to be controlled by cat videos. Another science fiction trope that needs a good debunking is the idea that we're all just living in a giant simulation, like in The Matrix. This concept has fascinated people for years, sparking countless debates and theories. It's a fun thought experiment, sure. Imagining that our reality is just a complex computer program can be intriguing and even a bit thrilling, but let's be honest, the evidence for this is about as convincing as a flat earther's PowerPoint presentation. It's entertaining, but not exactly credible. The truth is, we don't need some elaborate computer program to control our minds. Our everyday technology is already doing a fantastic job at that. We're doing a pretty good job of that ourselves, thank you very much. Between social media algorithms, targeted advertising, and the constant barrage of notifications, and the endless stream of cat videos on YouTube, our attention is constantly being pulled in a million different directions. Our attention spans are already fried. We find ourselves endlessly scrolling, clicking and watching, often without even realizing how much time has passed. The machines have already won, but not in the way we might have imagined. It's not through some grand dystopian takeover. They did it with a combination of cuteness and clickbait, subtly capturing our attention and keeping us hooked. Section 6, the future is now. So what's the point of science fiction? So if science fiction keeps getting it wrong, why do we even bother? Is it just a form of escapism, a way to distract ourselves from the banality of our own existence? Well, yes, sometimes, but it's also much more than that. Good science fiction, like all good art, holds up a mirror to our present. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about ourselves, our societies, and the choices we make. It asks big, often unsettling questions about the nature of humanity, the limits of technology, and the consequences of our actions. Section 7, why reality bites and why that's okay. The future, as we've established, is not some shiny, chrome-plated utopia. It's going to be messy, unpredictable, and probably involve a lot more paperwork than we'd like. But that doesn't mean it can't also be exciting, inspiring, and maybe even a little bit funny. So let's ditch the dystopian fantasies and focus on building a future that's a bit more realistic, a bit more humane, and a bit less likely to end in a robot uprising. And who knows, maybe we'll even get those jetpacks eventually.